Good afternoon. A very warm welcome to TV47 Newsfeed. This 19th day of the month of June 2021. My name is Grace Josephine. The burial ceremony of the late businessman magnate Chris Kirubi is underway at his Gatanga farm in Murang'a County. The funeral has been attended by high-profile guests, including cabinet secretaries, politicians, and businessmen.
And even though it took a long time to get to meet with him and to know him, once we connected, and this was really when I came back and we started Wananchi Online, which today is Zuku, he gave me a lot of advice, a lot of support and knowledge. And even when I eventually got into government, I found that his mentorship and advice was even more than even business. There are many things that he did and said, and they were not always known. But I will tell you, he defended this country. He loved this country. And he provided so much support. In fact, the last project we're working with him on is Jaza Trust, which Moria and his team are aware. This is where we are trying to work together to get all the youth to be owners of capital, as opposed to just earners of wages. And he provided a lot of insight, a lot of support, and that program we will definitely ensure that in his memory, we will see it succeed and work very well. He taught me many things, and many of those I have been implementing, but I love that he loved life. When I was reading and, I don't think any of you really can believe he was 80, because he just enjoyed life. One thing we had in common is during my early days at Lenana School, I was the school DJ. He became the country's DJ. And so there's a lot of things that, I would say I learned and I continue to learn. And even during this time of passing, during this time of, illness, he never lost who he was, and he continued to love people, family, and continue to love God, and many of these things I will also continue to cherish. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to have at least some words and to say he was a great hero, and I will remember him always. Chris, may you rest in eternal peace. Thank you very much.
Every tenant of the National Lifehouse is the high standards in which Chris Kirubi maintained. You will not be a scruffy tenant and be allowed to continue being a tenant in International Lifehouse. Even the bank itself, it started as a bank. It was the merchant bank. The commercial retail side would not be allowed to be there, because as of today, like it was then, International Lifehouse is a high-end. And Chris, you walk around all the way from, I think, 12th or 13th floor to come and check the status of each of the tenants. Occasionally, you come to our first floor and walk around, and we did maintain those high standards. The next attribute we learned over time is about how smart he was in terms of investments. And many has been said, many speakers yesterday, today have said so, about how special, how unique he was in terms of choosing, maintaining, and exiting investments as appropriate. And this is what has created this portfolio of investments, which today, as a country, we are very proud of. And he went further than that. Not only was he very smart in investing in business, he was also very smart in investing in systems, political systems. He had this philosophy that for you to have a good investment, you have to have a good business environment. To have a good business environment, you have to have really a good political system. And so Chris went further, rather than just the business and investment portfolio which he had, to invest in the political system. I remember very well in 2017, as a CSS, we were not allowed to do politics, but we are allowed to do mobilization of voters. And I remember we were fundraising for our county, which I believe is this one, Murang'a County. And Chris actually came to our aid each time there was an investment, there was a fundraising event. The final event was at Holiday Inn. And Chris never just sent money, because people of his status would just send you a check or a transfer. Chris came in person to the room where we were. Myself, my co-chair, who was then Peter Monga, and Chris gave the highest level of contribution to support the voter mobilization in this county. And that basically was part of the reasons why we have this government. And so in addition to investing in business portfolios, Chris made sure he invested wisely in political systems, which allowed now to have prosperity of what we have today. And so we have to remember Chris for many things. If he had time, we would go on and on and on. But I can't fail also to mention that indeed he has tremendous courage. The last time I went to his house when he was still sick to visit him, I did find his family. I also found, I think, James Moria. And whereas he was still sick, he was still mentoring us, who by the grace of God, we are still very healthy. He told us many words of wisdom. And that demonstrated the kind of courage which didn't come from the head, it came from the heart. And so many of us feel that indeed we've lost not just a friend, but indeed a mentor. Each time we talk, you call me young brother, and I'll call him older brother. And this is a memory which I'll go with. This is a memory I'm sure many of the people here who have been mentored by Chris will go with. And so we shall remember him, but his life was not in vain, because each time we would travel with the president overseas, the president will take him. Because when you have international forum with international investors, where many people will not be courageous to speak, Chris will be the first to raise the hand in front of international investors. And this is what basically has transformed many people to the standards which he desired. God will rest his peace, his soul, internal peace. Now allow me to read the message from the head of state. A message of condolence to the family, relatives, and friends of the late Dr. Christopher John Kirubi. It is with immense grief and a deep sense of personal loss that I send you this message of condolence and encouragement following the death of Dr. Christopher John Kirubi. In the passing of this powerhouse of a man, we have been robbed a seasoned businessman, entrepreneur, industrialist, innovator, philanthropist, whose influence spanned real estate.
Our heartfelt condolences to the family. Now moving on, Bomet Governor Hilary Barchok has urged residents of Bomet to adhere to COVID-19 protocols to avert further spread of the virus. This follows the inclusion of Bomet in the recent declaration of COVID-19 hotspot zones. Barchok also flagged off distribution of 4,400 learning materials worth 3.5 million shillings to ECD centers in the county. Governor Barchok said it is expected that there will be effective delivery in the respective ECD centers.
Came as a result of requests from all the governors, 14 of them in the Lake region. So it was a proposal through our meeting based on the trend and the numbers that we have been witnessing in the last few weeks. These protocols have been with us for the last 1 year and several months. So what we would only want to request our people that we avoid unnecessary movements outside the county and even outside your village. As much as possible, let us only make those necessary trips, especially to urban centers and even outside the county. Now that we've given the equipment to the teacher, we also expect that there will be effectiveness in curriculum delivery in our respective ECDs, and because we are part of the Lake Region Economic Bloc.
Elsewhere, police in Voi, Taita Taveta County are investigating an incident where 4 fraud suspects stole 83,418 shillings from Rose Wanja via M-Pesa. The suspects, Grace Wamboi, Peter Ndeg Wambogwa, Julius Goshundongo, and Teresia Wamboi Wangoi, are suspected to have committed the crime on the 16th of June 2021. While in court, the 4 refunded all the money despite pleading not guilty before Magistrate FM Nyakundi at the Voi Law Courts. The court is set to rule on the matter on the June 22nd.
Kwani tarehe 20 mwezi wa 4 mwaka huu ambapo jamaa alikuja hapa akasema ya kwamba alikuwa na pesa cash, alikuwa anataka kudeposit 40,000 lakini ikawa tuko na 25,000. Sasa tukamwekea 25,000, zikawa zinakataa mara ya kwanza, ikakataa mara ya pili, ikakataa mara ya tatu.
Swali wiki ya 3 ndo nikanotice kuwa huyu si mwenyewe, nikachukua namba yake since naijua Ofed, nikampigia simu.
Walikuwa mwanaume mmoja na mwanamke, walikuja kwa duka na wakanibia 83,418. Saa bahati mzuri wakashikwa, walishikiwa West Bridge Mariakani wakielekea Mombasa.
On to matters health, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Justin Muturi, has advocated for the formation of a Health Service Commission in a bid to quell the existing dispute between the county government and healthcare trade unions. The GEMA spokesman said this in a virtual meeting which marked the end of a 3-day Kenya Medical Association conference on Friday. After deliberating the incorporation of technology and innovation in the health sector, sentiments echoed by the Kenya Medical Association President Dr. Andrew Were, who had attended the event held in a Kisii hotel. On his part, the Media Council of Kenya, CEO David Omoyo assured that MCK will facilitate accurate reporting on matters health.
Start an engagement with the Departmental Committee on Health in the National Assembly and their Senate counterpart Committee on Health, and probably move this matter from a conversation and have the commission established through an amendment to the Constitution before the end of the current 12th Parliament.
Is the government to move with speed, procure vaccines, not only for healthcare workers, but for all Kenyans, so that we can be quickly vaccinated and get back to our normal lives. Because the longer we stay unvaccinated, the cost of this pandemic might be very hard for us as a country to recover from.
The whole idea is to ensure that Kenyans receive accurate information and journalists are not left to second guess vocabularies and medical terms they do not understand.
On to matters politics, the Luo Council of Elders has vowed to support ODM party leader Raila Odinga's stab at the presidency in the upcoming polls, should he declare his bid to go for the top seat for a 5th time in August next year. According to the council's Bondo branch chairperson Odida Bwoga, the Luo community will not back any other candidate, while scoffing at claims that 76-year-old Raila Odinga should retire from politics ahead of the elections.
Na kama Raila nakubali ni ati NASA bado iko. Na mimi nafuata Raila tu. Kama yeye nakubali, mimi nafuata yeye pale kwa NASA yake hiyo. Hawezi kuacha yeye na NASA na yeye naenda peke yake. Wewe najua Raila ndio nakaa kama Mungu yetu wa Jaluo. Mimi namwambia wewe. Raila kama bado hai hawezi wacha hiyo mambo ya siasa, hata nawaachia ingine, hata yeye tunabaki na risasi moja. Bado iko na risasi mingi kwa hapo mdomo yake. Iko na risasi mingi sana Raila ni kidogo. Nilikuwa nasaliwa kwa mwaka 46. Bado siji sasa ndio yeye nafika kama miaka 70 something. Bado kidogo. Hata bado fika pale ilikuwa nani nachukua sokani Kibaki. Bado iko na risasi.
Still on matters politics, Agriculture CS Peter Munya has continued to condemn the coronation of National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi as the Gema community spokesperson. Speaking in Igembe North in Meru County, Munya said Mount Kenya region has a leader who is President Uhuru Kenyatta, and when the time of succession comes, the region will announce the best to lead the community.
Mulituona tukiwa Nyeri. Tulikuwa huko na mangavana wengi na wabunge. Tulikuwa na gavana wa Embu. Tulikuwa na gavana wa Laikipia na wa Nyeri na wa Nakuru na wa Murang'a. Na hata gavana wa Nairobi alikuwa hapo. Na wapi kwingine? Ni wapi nimebakisha? Na Nyandarua, Imemia. Na Kirinyaga. Hawa wa mangavana wote 8 tulikuwa nao huko na wabunge kadhaa, na hata wengine ni vile hawakujua. Tukakuwa na msimamo na kauli moja ya kwamba mlima hautagawanywa. Sawa sawa? Tukasema mlima ni nini? Ni mmoja. Lakini tutashikana, tuzungumze chini ya uongozi wa President Uhuru Kenyatta, tujue yule ataridhi hiyo uongozi wake wakati wake ukifika wakuu staafu. Na hata yeye atakuwa na usemi kwa hiyo mambo. Hakuna wazee kadhaa ati watakutana kwa msitu kwa sababu wamelipiwa transport na wakanunuliwa chai na nyama. Hadi sasa waseme ni huyu. Nani aliwapea jukumu ya kusema ni huyu? Ni sisi sote tutazungumza. Tuone yule ana uwezo na nguvu ya kutuongoza na kuongea na wale makabila wengine wa Kenya.
The United Green Movement Party has opposed the calls to shelf degree requirements for people seeking elective positions in the 2022 general election. Addressing the press, UGM Secretary General Hamish Malim argued that there are many good leaders in the world without degrees. The party also has called on President Uhuru Kenyatta to focus on the Big Four agenda instead of the succession politics.
We would like to say it's important for all leaders to have some level of education. However, we would like to propose a review of the law, that the level of education required for elective post be a post-secondary school qualification, which could be a certificate course or a diploma, and not mandatory bachelor's degree. As a party, we will therefore support any efforts to help legalize the legal review to this end. We would like to urge the President to refocus the nation on Agenda 4 issues raised by Kofi Annan-led mediation team between 2007 to 2008, after the post-election violence. These issues include youth unemployment, national cohesion, land reform, constitutional reform, social justice and equality, transparency, accountability. It is a view of the United Green Movement Party that we should get these Agenda 4 issues sorted. It would not matter who the next president of Kenya would be.
Unless the people who are telling us that they want to postpone the election want to take us to war, which is really sad, that a normal Kenyan walking the streets can actually tell us we're going to war so that you postpone the election. I think that will be a fallacy, far from the aspirations of the Constitution. So we should tell Kenyans, that's why we are here as a political party. We are planning, because we know and we will ensure that unless they bring war, which we doubt they can, they have no ability, Kenya will go to the elections on the 9th of August 2022.
That is a story we will definitely be expounding in further in our Sauti ya Mwananchi segment tonight. Now, moving on, the government has built dams in the clan conflict-prone areas to help foster rather peaceful coexistence. During the official launch of the RS10 Mega Water Dam in Wajir North, EAC and Regional Development CS Mohammed Aden said the national government was keen on building peace among clans in the eastern and northeastern regions because in order to reduce interclan tension and clashes over water and pasture, the dams will also be used in irrigation of farms nearby.
It's fighting. It's normally over water and over pasture. And one of the things that the national government has done is to make sure that those incidences are minimized through programs such as this. And we look forward to hearing responses from the community on how this is going to make a difference in their lives. I know this is 3 kilometers away from where the population actually is. And whilst it's ideal for the animals and livestock here, there would be a need for us to start getting water closer to the community, right inside the town.
Nafikiri kama waziri angekuwa mtu wa hapa, pengine yale amefanya kuhusu dams amunge yaona, na maji hapa ni kitu ya muhimu. Nikiangalia ni area kubwa na area kubwa ambao haina maji. Nimepitia juu, nimeona hakuna silanga, hakuna mito, hakuna nini. Kwa hivyo maji itakuwa kitu ya muhimu, bwana waziri, na kushukuru. Na hata nyinyi nataka mshukuru, na mkikutana na yeye mwambie asante. Hii ni kazi mzuri ambayo ameleta nyumbani kwake mahali ametoka. Nasikia kuna hii ya Wajia, kuna zingine 3 Mandera, na zote ni za kusaidia wananchi wa hapa.